Adrian, thank you for doing this interview with me. It's your second interview on the carnivore diet. You are type 1 diabetic, and I'll let you introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from and what's your background and how old you are and so forth.
Okay, so I didn't want to tell you my age, but now you're going to force me to do that. So, yeah, I'm 49, almost 50 early next year. Been a diabetic now for type 1 diabetic, probably 30, almost 30 years. Originally from Joburg. I've been living in Paarl now for the last year and a half. Yeah, and then obviously struggling with type 1 diabetes. Took me many years to get onto the right path, which I think I'm on now. So yeah, I'm very, very happy, very privileged to to have met you as well. Eating predominantly meat. I would say that I'm probably 99% carnivore because I do enjoy some avo. Obviously, don't eat any other fruit or any other veg, but can't stay away from avos. You need some variety in the diet, and it's very difficult from a type 1 perspective. If you truly only eat meat, it does get a little bit of a challenge to keep your sugar levels to maintain it at a, let's say, at a good at a good level. Especially when you start. I think when you're insulin dependent, eating only meat does create challenges in terms of the dosages and that. But I think I've managed to get it right now.
That's wonderful, my friend. I just want to give a quick shout out, if you don't mind. One of our friends, Eric, Steak and Philosophy, he's a nurse in America, and I interviewed him as well. So I just want to say hello. And everybody, if I missed you, I know many of you are going to pop up, and my focus is on Adrian. So if I miss you, hello to everybody, and thank you for joining us. And Adrian, again, thank you for introducing us. We are at this age, 49, I'm 50. So It's like this. And just from my side, before we delve into the deeper things of this interview, I want to thank you and I want to salute you. You're such an inspiration. I can't emphasize it enough. You are breaking through the barriers that other type 1 diabetics will follow you, and you are leading a path. And I'm so proud of you. And, I'll delve to a little bit later into why I mentioned that. But I'm excited for you, man. I'm excited for you of what you have achieved. And maybe we can start at the end. What have you achieved so far? And then we can work back and ask a few questions. So what did the carnivore diet do for you recently or up to now? What happened?
So maybe I should start by saying the fact I think type 2 diabetics have got a completely different challenge to people that are type 1 diabetic. People that are type 2 diabetic are most likely overweight. It is curable. A lot of type 2 diabetics don't know that they have diabetes to start with, or insulin resistance for that matter. I think type 1 diabetics, it's a completely different challenge. So when I was originally diagnosed, I lost a lot of weight. So I think I weighed 45 kilograms by the time I was diagnosed. And I'm somebody that's supposed to weigh 75 kilograms. So I was 30 kilograms underweight. I lost my hair. I was always thirsty. I was always hungry. I craved sugar. And that's an easy way to identify that there's something wrong. I think type 2 diabetics don't realize that they have got diabetes, and they can go through life for a couple of years without even knowing. And that is where the damage happens. So I was diagnosed when I was 21. When you're 21 years old, you don't want to accept the fact that you are diabetic. You want to go out and party and have a whole lot of beers with your friends, and you want to eat what you want to, and you don't want to, you want to go to a restaurant and have fun and all that. And I think accepting the fact that you're diabetic is the most difficult part. So you don't want to be the odd one out. And that acceptance causes you not to look after yourself until things start to go wrong. So luckily for me, I don't have any diabetes complications at this point in time. So I've got 100% eyesight, my feet's fine, I don't have any issues. But I think it's because I did try my best to keep my sugar under control. But the issue with diabetes is not so much are you taking your medication and all of that. More importantly, it's about what you eat. And there's not a lot of education out there to say, you know what, I think my first ever diabetes consultation, the doctor said to me, you should not eat sweets. You should not eat sugar. You should try and avoid that. Nobody tells you about the bread and the carbs and the pasta and the potatoes. And everybody says to you, you can have that in moderation. Don't worry about it. I was actually in hospital not too long ago. And I was given the diabetic meal plan, if I can put it that way. They still gave me yogurt that are sweetened. They still gave me custard and jelly that are artificially sweetened. They still gave me pasta. They still gave me potatoes. So I actually had a big argument with the people and said, this is not a diabetic diet. You cannot do that. In fact, it's not a diet for anybody, for that matter. So yeah, I think education is the most important part. And I'm lucky that now, at this point in time, I've got a young doctor, I've got a young dietitian. They are open to new ideas. My father had a heart bypass 30 years ago, and he's still alive now. He's 85 years old. I had a similar problem with my heart because we both have exactly the same artery that seems to narrow, and it's a genetic issue. So I had a consultation with a cardiologist, and he said to me that your cholesterol is high. I said, that's fine. What is going to cause me to have an early death? Is it going to be diabetes complications, or is it going to be high cholesterol? And he actually then agreed with me that I can actually stay on the carnivore or the low carb diet for as long as I want, because he agrees with me that diabetes complications is a much bigger risk than what high cholesterol is. So, yeah, and I think that's the other issue that we have with our doctors and our nurses and the people that needs to help you with diabetes, is that they need to make that shift in their minds that, carbohydrates is a problem, and not as such sugar or sugar intake as a problem. And still today we see people that are told that eating carbohydrates in moderation is fine, and we now know that it's not. I saw my diabetic doctor last week, and she fell off a chair because as a type 1 diabetic, I have a normal HbA1c. And I can tell you now, there are healthy people out there who are not diabetics that cannot say that. So I was And I'm now at a point where I can say, you know what, I'm so happy to have been able to reach this point, and it's because of what I eat. No other reason. I'm not taking a different kind of medication. I've been taking the same medication for the last 30 years, but it's because of what I eat that I am in the position that I am now.
Wonderful. This is wonderful. So, if I can ask you like this, is the carnivore diet difficult for you? The reason why I ask this is I know diabetics that won't go on the carnivore diet. I know type 1 diabetics that won't persist in it. And I know type 2 diabetics that won't even look at it. Why are you able to do the carnivore diet and they're not?
First of all, I think people are scared to talk to their doctors about it. That's number one. I think the other reason is that doctors tell them not to go on the diet because they don't understand. For a type 1 diabetic, it is difficult because you have to adjust your medication down, and by a lot. Like I told you in our previous interview, I take 65% less medication than what I did before I started the diet. So you will find that you get a lot of sugar lows because you don't eat carbs. Carbs is what takes your sugar higher. I can eat a piece of steak and it won't make a big difference in terms of my sugar, my glucose levels. If I eat one slice of bread, the opposite happens. And I think people are scared that they're going to get lows, or they do get lows because they don't eat any carbs. And I found that to be a very big adjustment for me in the beginning. I struggled with low sugar, and it does cause a concern. But once you get control over it, it becomes a lot easier. So I've got the sensor in my arm. I can test my sugar 100 times a day. And if there's one thing I implore people to do is get a sensor. You don't need a sensor for the rest of your life. I know they are expensive, but get one and see what effect food have on your sugar. Once you've done that and you get a good idea, you will be healthy. The sensor saves lives. I can't emphasize it more than what I am. Get a sensor, see what happens when you eat a slice of bread. See what happens if you eat a fruit. See what happens when you eat a steak. And you'll soon realize what foods causes what to your glucose levels. If I eat meat the whole day, I need very, very little insulin.
Okay. What is the cost of that sensor? What does it work out in a month?
So you need 2 sensors in a month. They last about 2 weeks. I think technology are improving now, so that might change very soon. But you pay 700 Rand for a sensor. If you're on a medical aid will pay for one sensor and you pay for one.
So it's 1,400 per month.
It's 1,400 Rand a month, of which your medical aid will pay 700 Rand. So it's 700 Rand a month. But think about it this way. That 700 Rand a month you spend is 700 Rand a month you invest in your health. Because it will cost you a whole lot more money when diabetes complications start to set in. When you start going blind. When you need to go to a podiatrist because you've got problems with your feet. Or you've got a wound on your foot that doesn't want to heal. That's when you start spending the money. And that is why medical aids are now starting to see the benefit of the sensor. And they're now willing to pay for it because they can see that they have to fork out a lot less money because people are more healthier because of the sensor.
That's wonderful. Tell me, how do you feel now and what are the benefits that the carnivore diet gave to you, and how soon did you see the benefits?
Well, as a type 1 diabetic, I think when your sugar is under control, you'll see the benefits almost immediately. So I remember my first ever message to you was, I want to pick up weight. can I do it on the carnivore diet? Because people say the carnivore diet is for people who want to lose weight because you're not eating the carbohydrates. But as a type 1 diabetic, if your sugar is not under control, you'll lose weight. What happens is your body needs the glucose into your cells for energy. If your sugar is not under control and your sugar is high and you're not taking the right amount of insulin, you don't get that energy. So your body will actually live off the fat that is stored in your body and even some of the muscle. So you lose a lot of weight. I think I was about 66 kilograms when I started the diet. I'm now on 75 kilos. So I picked up 9 kilograms and I feel a lot better. I've got a lot more energy. I don't feel lethargic. I just feel so much better now.
Wonderful. And did you mentioned that you struggled a bit in the beginning to get your blood sugar under control until I think you got the sensor. So what advice would you give people apart from the sensor? What other advice would you give specifically type 1 diabetics, but maybe type 2 diabetics as well, when they want to start the carnivore diet? Would you perhaps say they should more start a keto diet or banting and then move over slowly? Or did you come in solidly on the carnivore diet, although you are eating the avo, which make it ketovore? Do you often eat the avo or just at times?
Yeah, so I enjoy avo, especially with breakfast. If I can have avo all the time, I probably will.
Okay.
So you can actually, there's a very simple recipe. You can make your own avo bread. So you mash an avo, you break an egg in the avo, and you add a cup of Parmesan cheese. You roll it out onto an oven pan. You put it in the oven 180 degrees for probably about 25 to 30 minutes, and then you have a slice of bread. And then you put your egg and your bacon on top of that for your breakfast. It's brilliant.
Yeah. So that is the bread. Just to clarify, no extra bread. That avo bacon.
The avo is your bread.
Is the bread.
Is your bread, yes.
But just to get back to the question that I asked earlier. So what advice would you give to type 1 diabetics specifically, and maybe type 2 diabetics, when they start or want to start a healthier lifestyle? Would you suggest to them to go straight into the carnivore diet, or would you perhaps say they should start on banting or keto or keto?
What I would suggest, Kobus, is that they should probably look at slowly adjusting. So if you have 2 slices of bread in the morning with your egg and your bacon, remove one of the slices. Take the same amount of insulin that you normally would, and see what effect that has on your sugar. You'll probably find that if you eat 1 slice less, you'll find that you probably need less insulin. But that is something that you can discuss with your dietitian or with your doctor. That's what I did. And that is how I brought my insulin usage down, because we realized that because I'm eating less carbs, I need less insulin. So if you have been a diabetic for a very long time, it might be easier for you to adjust your insulin yourself. Otherwise, speak to your doctor and ask them how you should go about that. Eventually, after doing this for a couple of days, you'll realize exactly how much insulin you need for what you eat, and then you can start cutting out the carbs completely.
Okay. So in your opinion, then it's a bad idea to start full carnivore on day 1 for type 1 diabetic?
No, absolutely. You can't. You absolutely can't do that.
But type 2 diabetics can, you would say?
Yeah, type 2 goes straight ahead and just cut out the carbs immediately, because your body is still producing...
And adjust medicine.
Yeah. As a type 2 diabetic, your body still regulates your blood sugar in a way. You still have insulin that goes through your body. So you can just cut out the carbs completely. As a type 1 diabetic, everything is a manual process. You need to administer your own medication. So I wouldn't do it straight away. No,
Yeah, yeah.
I would phase it out slowly.
Yeah, so if I understand correctly, what you say is within about 7 days, you will be able to, cut the carbs a bit, maybe make a little bit more meat or, carnivore type food, and slowly within a week adjust it down together with your doctor, or if you are able to do it yourself. And then within 7 days, is that about the expectation for type 1 diabetic, more or less?
Yeah, I would say about a week it should be perfect. By then, you should know exactly um, how the food affects your sugar, your glucose, and then you can start cutting it out. So I am not 100% carnivore because this is now by choice. I can be 100% carnivore if I wanted to because I know how the food affects my sugar and what I can and can't eat, and how much insulin I require. But just for a little bit of variety and that is why I eat the Avo, but that's about the only other thing outside of carnivore that I do.
Yeah, so in the way that I describe it to people, you get carnivore and then you get ketovore. Ketovore is 10 grams of carbohydrates per day. So that is like a avo with your meat. So that is basically what you are. You are ketovore, which is an excellent diet. Look, we on this TikTok channel, we support ketovore, we support keto, we support banting, and obviously carnivore and the lion diet. But it's an excellent diet. And many people, go or jump between a carnivore and a ketovore, or keto and carnivore. They jump between them, and it's absolutely perfectly fine. I don't have any problem with that. It's a healthy diet. It's a low carbohydrate diet.
What I would say is if you're type 1 diabetic is maybe start with banting. Do 30 grams of carbs a day. Do those 2 slices of bread if you can. And even spread that over the whole day. Don't have all your carbs in the morning or all your carbs for lunch or for dinner, but spread it over the course of the day, just until you're at a point where you can control your blood sugar. Because I know that people are worried about low blood sugar. It is a thing, and it is not a nice feeling when you have it. So to start off, just to make it easier, is to perhaps go on banting, then move to keto, and then if you want to, go to carnivore.
Yes, excellent. Okay, so how long are you on carnivore? I interviewed you about a year ago, but how long were you carnivore before that?
I think it's probably about a year and a half now, Quibus.
Year and a half. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
And from this year and a half, how long were you completely carnivore? When did you start to add the Avo in?
It's actually been a while. I would say probably in the last 3-4 months, maybe.
Okay, so you were at least 1 year and 2 months full carnivore.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. But as I said, I've got no worries about ketovore. It's excellent diet. In fact, my wife is actually ketovore, and it's fantastic. Some people enjoy it. They do better with that, and it's perfect. It's like Dr. Kendi Barry say, it's the proper human diet spectrum. It's any one of those are fine. What pitfalls would you say? What pitfalls would you say are there for type 1 and type 2 diabetics, apart from the ones that you mentioned now, that you can say, watch out for this? Is there anything that you learned in
I think the most important.
So I lost you.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is you need to know what your blood sugar level. Sorry.
No worries.
Can you hear me now, Cobus?
Yeah, I hear you 100%.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. I think not knowing what your blood sugar levels are.
Uh-huh.
I think that is key. I know testing is really a pain, and that is why I say that the sensor is so important. And understanding what food does to your glucose levels. Until you understand that, you will always have a struggle. So whether it's chicken or whether it is steak or whether it's lamb, whether it's a fruit, whether it is carbohydrates, you need to know what all those things, how it affects your sugar. If you do that, you will be in a good place. And it's because people don't know, that's where the problem starts. And knowledge is power. As soon as you know all of that, you will be in the right place. And then you can't go wrong.
Here's a technical question for you. How do you, because many people, not even just diabetics, many people say, yeah, what about social events, Christmas and parties, and how do you handle the so-called pressure to eat what other people are eating?
It's funny that you should say that. So I actually had we had a customer meeting yesterday. We went for lunch to a restaurant in Cape Town, one of the wine farms, and there was nothing on the menu that I could eat. So I just said, I'm not going to eat. And everybody was, why won't you eat? I said, well, there's nothing on the menu that is healthy. And the waitress looked at me and said, you know, what? I said, no, there's nothing on the menu that is healthy that I can eat, so I'm not going to eat. So they had steaks on the menu, but there was very sticky sweet basting on it. So I said, sorry, I can't have that. And I didn't eat. I had a cup of coffee. So yeah, you just have to do that. We've got a restaurant just down the road from where we live. They have Banting pizza, so we'll go and we'll have a Banting pizza with the cauliflower base, because my son, he's only 5 years old, and I can't expect him to be on a carnivore diet or not to eat what he wants to eat. When he grows up, he can make his own decisions. So when we, maybe once a month, or maybe whenever we do go out, my wife will have a Banting pizza and I might share a little bit with her, but then he can eat whatever he wants. So at social events, we normally take our own food. We'll braai and we'll take our own steak and we'll eat what we want to eat. And people that know us know what we eat, so they don't expect anything different.
Yeah, and that's actually a very good way to answer it. I always tell people, you know, if they really respect you, exactly what you said now, they will, if they really respect your health, they will not push you in a direction and say, but don't be antisocial or things like that, you know. And,
absolutely.
Yeah, and we always teach our clients in the coaching that you should change your relationship with food. And it's exactly what you said there. There was nothing to eat because it was not really food. It was what it was, you know. It was, I don't know, junk food, whatever.
Yeah, no, exactly that.
I just want to give a quick shout out, Jan Pretorius, all the way from the UK. He said hi, and everybody that I missed, I forgot there was somebody else that also I saw earlier on the screen, on the comments. Thank you for everybody that's participating. Right, let's carry on. And how strict are you with your ketovore or carnivore diet in terms of snacks and sweets and that kinds of nonsense?
It was really tough in the beginning. Funny enough now, my son likes to snack. He takes a lot of sweet stuff to school and he has his chips and all that. But it doesn't affect me anymore. I think I have been able to overcome that. So the temptation is no longer there. But yeah, I'm actually fine. We do buy some dry balls and we do buy some biltong from specific places. Like I told you also the other day, we buy boerewors from Calvinia, all the way from the Karoo, with no funny stuff in it. So we are quite particular about what we eat. But yeah, the biltong and the dry horse we buy are good. We buy a lot of it, and we snack a lot of it, especially during the day. If you get hungry, then that's what you go for.
That's wonderful. Do you feel deprived? And in the same question, do you see this carnivore or ketovore diet as a long-term solution, something that you can do for decades, or do you think you won't be able? Do you feel deprived by it?
No, not at all, because the benefits of it is is much more than what the negatives are. So for me, it's no. I'm quite happy to do it, and I benefit from it. I feel much better. I look much better. So why won't I do it? And what is better than meat? What tastes better than meat?
Yes.
There's nothing better than that. So I was very happy that that the carnivore or the ketovore diet is the best diet out there, because I love meat, and I can eat it every day. I can eat it every meal. Yeah.
I know you answered my question earlier, but I want to ask that question again. And it was, why won't some type 1 or some type 2 diabetics don't do the carnivore diet? And you said earlier that you think it's because they don't talk to their doctors, or they're scared to talk to their doctors. But I don't think it's the only reason. Because the reason why I ask you is you live in that world, so maybe you can give me perspective of why.
If I can maybe add to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, we're the same age. We went to school. In biology, you learn about a balanced diet, and this is how you should eat, and you should have fiber in your diet, and all of that. And that's what people grow up with. And that is the stigma, and it's still out there, and people still believe it. Doctors are of the same opinion. Dietitians are of the same opinion. So whatever we are talking about now is revolutionary, and people cannot accept it or make that move. And high cholesterol is bad for you, and fatty food is bad for you. And you should have low-fat milk, and you should have low-fat cheese, and all of that. And that is still out there, and it's going to be out there for a long time. That is something that we need to change, and doctors need to endorse that, and your dietitian needs to be on board and endorse it. And as long as that is the case, people are going to be wary, and people are not going to want to change.
Yeah.
And that is the sad reality of where we are.
Yes. And if I can just maybe add to that, I'm thinking specifically of type 2 diabetics now, but maybe there's a relation to type 1 diabetics as well. Even though they take the right medicine, and they don't change their lifestyle eating habits, they suffer the consequences. They lose limbs, they lose brain functionality, cognitive, they lose their kidneys, they lose so many things, although they are taking the correct medicine, And I explain these things to them. That's why I asked this question twice, because I still don't get it. 5 years later on the carnivore, I still don't get it. Why? It's almost as if I want their health more for them than they want it for themselves. I don't know.
No, absolutely. Something like type 2 diabetes should not even exist today. There shouldn't even be medication for type 2 diabetes. But it is an easy way, and people make a lot of money out of it. And pharmaceutical companies make a lot of money out of it. You're taking glucophage, or you're taking tablets for your type 2 diabetes, but if you just eat correctly and do what you're supposed to do, you don't need the medication. You don't need to be a type 2 diabetic. So type 2 diabetes to me is something that should not exist. If you do the right thing, you'll be fine. You can reverse it, as you know. And type 1 diabetes is different because you're insulin dependent, and your pancreas doesn't work and there's no way around that. But type 2 diabetes should not even be a conversation today.
Fantastic. How much is your savings on the insulin that you don't inject anymore per month?
Well, I haven't even thought about that for a long time. But yeah, like I said, I take 65% less. I would say that on average, probably between 4,000 and 5,000 rand is what I used to have to spend on that. And yeah, 65% of that is quite a lot. So probably less than 3,000 rand a month that I have to spend on my medication. Luckily, I do have medical aid, so that is not a challenge for me. But I know there's a lot of people out there that need to pay for that medication. So yeah, the saving is massive.
If I can put a ballpark figure, can I say that you used to spend about 4,000 rand on insulin, and now you're spending about less than 1,500? Is that fair? Or is it more, less than?
That's probably correct, yeah.
Okay, that's excellent, eh? And
yeah, I would say that's probably right too. Yeah, that's probably right.
Yes, and you know, and those are the things that people don't think of beforehand. You know, they think, "Oh, I'm fine. I've got my prescription," and you know, type 2 diabetics on the other hand, they say, "No, I've got my medicine and I'm fine. My blood glucose is under control," and that's what frustrates me. They think their blood sugar is under control, but they still get the damage because of high insulin levels and insulin resistance.
No, absolutely. And I think you are now mentioning a very important point. So let me have that chocolate. I'll just use more medication and then my sugar is fine. And then you create another risk because you've got too much insulin in your body. So that's a very simple fix, but it's a short-term fix. And the long-term consequences of that is so much more.
Okay, that is very true what you say. Okay, let's list the things that you got right and fixed and solved with the carnivore diet. Okay, number one was energy.
Yes.
Yes. Second thing was your weight, that you were underweight. You gained how many kilos? 9.
9 kilos.
Yes. What else did you, the insulin that you, 65% are using less. Okay. What else was there that you got from carnivore?
Well, I think my overall health, my kidney function has improved. I know that I had some challenges around that, and I can't remember the figure now, but yeah, my kidneys are functioning normal. I feel so much better. I used to get burning, painful sensations in my feet. I don't have that anymore. I used to have problem with swelling of my feet, and that is all gone. So yeah, I just feel so much better overall, and my energy levels are as good as it's ever been.
I've counted 9. I've counted 9 benefits. It's monthly.
Okay.
That's beautiful, man. No, again, back to my initial point that I made in the beginning, Adrian, I'm so proud of you. And thank you for what you are doing in the background, just being who you are and doing what you are doing with your lifestyle on the carnivore and ketovore, setting the example, fighting the good fight and doing videos like this. This video will save somebody's life, my friend. Hear what I say today. Will save somebody's life. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if there's anybody who needs some assistance or some help or have questions or just need somebody to talk to or want to understand something, they're more than welcome just to send me a message. I will gladly help if I can.
Yes, and that is on TikTok. Follow Adrian on TikTok, and DM him on a private message, and yeah, he will correspond with you. Adrian, I'm so grateful, man, and I'm so excited for the journey ahead. And there are so many things that we have in common, eh? Yeah, we are the same age, and we are carnivore. Okay, you are ketovore,
Yeah.
but
No,
you're not a
absolutely.
carnivore. You reversed
Yes.
your number 10. You reversed your insulin resistance. Yeah, number 10, because you were insulin resistant.
Yeah. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. You were never hypertensive.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because, actually, my dietitian said to me, you now have to be careful because you are going to be a lot more insulin sensitive. So, and I did actually realize that with my medication. So, when you change from eating that high carbohydrate diet to more of a carnivore or ketovore diet, is that your body gets more sensitive to insulin. So the less insulin has the same results as what the bigger doses will have, but it just works better. It's a lot more effective, the insulin that you do actually use.
Fantastic. Cholesterol levels that you tested recently?
My actually with my test with the doctor last week, I said, "Can we do a cholesterol test?" He said, "No, what? She's so happy with my sugar, my glucose levels the way it is. She's not even going to worry about the cholesterol. She's aware of the diet that I eat. She knows all about it. She says she's not concerned. It's not a concern for her if my diabetes is where it's supposed to be. She's not going to be concerned about the cholesterol. So
And she's
yeah, I haven't had a test.
she's a diabetic doctor, and
She's a
she's
diabetic doctor. She works at the Center of Diabetes. Yes,
in Paul.
in Paul. Yes.
Okay, excellent. I told one of my friends today, Graham, that we need to get a list of doctors that support low carbohydrate diets in South Africa. We need them. Yeah.
It would be it would be great if it could be all of them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it would be great. Yeah, and your A1c is now your hemoglobin A1c
5.8.
5.8, and to a normal A1c is
5.7.
5.7. So it's normal.
I'm 0.1% from being normal.
Yeah, that's super. That's super. I'm very proud of you, Adrian. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to add to this conversation? Perhaps a tip that we left out, or something that we left out?
No, I think there's one point that I want to emphasize. When you are diagnosed with diabetes, or you're type 1 or type 2, when you go to the doctor, the most important thing, don't worry about the sweets, don't worry about all of that. You need to realize that the things that damage you is the things that you don't think of. It's the bread, it's the pasta, it's the potatoes, it's the rice, it's all of that. It's not about I can eat whole wheat bread instead of white bread. They're all bad for you. There's not a good bread out there. Stay away. And doesn't matter what anybody tells you, those are the things that will kill you in the end. Because people think, I'm not going to eat my bar one chocolate, but I'm going to have a slice of bread because the slice of bread is better. It is not. It is not. Both of them are just as bad as the other. So that's my advice. If you can do that, if you can't do carnivore, or you can't stay away from your veggies, all of that's good. But stay away from carbs, stay away from fruit if you can. Those are the things that kill you.
Absolutely,
And they will. Yeah.
Absolutely, my friend. After our conversation, Adrian and I communicated, and he reached his blood sugar target of 5.7. Congratulations, Adrian. I clarified a few questions with Adrian, and I added this into this conversation at this point because it made sense. He communicated to me that he struggled with the carnivore diet for the first 2 days with low blood sugar levels, and he decided to go on the Banting diet, and he did go on the Banting diet for 7 to 10 days. So this is very important information, as he is type 1 diabetic, and many type 1 diabetics will see this video. Adrian suggests that you first start with Banting or with keto, which is also low carbohydrate, and especially if you struggle with low blood sugar. Other people might find it easier to go to carnivore, but some people might find it more challenging. I also asked him about OMAD, or 1 meal a day, and he said that some people might struggle with OMAD if they are type 1 diabetic, and others may find it easier. But especially people that struggle with their sugar will find OMAD 1 meal a day difficult, and it's not suggestible to do that. It's rather better to eat more than once per day. He also say here that people don't realize that their breakfast is actually important, especially for type 1 diabetics, because even if you test that your sugar is fine in the evening, the next morning your sugar will taste different. And that's, of course, because of the dawn effect. Your liver actually give you that glucose in the morning, and it also secretes ketones in the morning. So you basically get that higher sugar level. It's important to remember that. He said also that if a type 1 diabetic does want to do OMAD, he should be very strict on carnivore. But OMAD is not necessary. He emphasized that the adjustment to low carb or carnivore, it's huge in terms of medication. So it's quite a shock for your body. So it's better to do it gradually, especially with type 1 diabetics. So Adrian went, starting with carnivore, struggled for 2 days. He then did Banting for 7 to 10 days, and then he did carnivore. He said that you can do OMAD if you do it right, if you know what you are doing. He mentioned that, just for interest sake, on this particular day of this recording, he only ate once. So you can do it if you do it right. But he say people don't use their insulin correct. They don't use their medicine correct. And I also think it's about getting experience with changing over. I asked him about fasting for type 1 diabetics and type 2 diabetics, and he said he will not suggest fasting for type 1 diabetics simply because people don't use their medication correct in some cases, and it's very dangerous, especially for type 1 diabetics. Type 2 diabetics, not so much problematic. Of course, they can also struggle with fasting, but it's not as difficult as with type 1 diabetics. And some people do good with fasting, others don't do good with fasting. That is my opinion on fasting. Adrian, thank you so much for doing this interview. I enjoyed it so much. It was so nice to talk to you again.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
yeah, man. And we must talk again, even if it's in 2 years' time, because then by that time you'll be a veteran. So
Yes, I'll have an
we'll give you
A1c
a
of
plate
5.
or something to hang there on your wall. So, and
Absolutely.
so I'm super excited for you being a type 1 diabetic and pushing through. And again, thank you for doing this interview. I appreciate it so much.
It's a pleasure. No, thank you very much. I feel privileged to have been able to share my story with everybody out there. And yeah, like I said, if somebody wants to be in touch, they're more than welcome to do so. Kobus, thank you for the work that you do,
It's
because you
my
are
pleasure.
saving a lot of lives, and we
Now,
appreciate it.
thank you, Adrian. And let me take the opportunity to thank everybody that joined in this live. Erika, I saw you earlier. Thank you so much. But everybody else, because I missed so many names because they scroll up, so I couldn't see. And thank you for everybody that contributes to the TikToks and ask the questions. And if it was not for them, the TikTok channel would not grow. So thank you so much, Adrian. I appreciate you. And you must have a great weekend. And then we talk again.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kobus. Thank you, everybody.